My name's Owen Luder. Actually, my first Christian name's Harold. I don't use Harold. I'm an architect. I was born in Islington, in Highbury, in 1928. So my first football club was Millwall, but my affinity always was with Arsenal. In those pre-war days, Millwall had a very good team, and they had big crowds. And we used to bunk in, as we used to describe it, bunk in when they opened the gates about 20 minutes from the end to let the early leavers get out. We used to go in and then watch the last 20 minutes. Government policy was, as soon as possible, was to get football started, to keep morale up, and the whole spirit was, business as usual. My first match that I saw of Arsenal, which was in Cheltenham in 1941, end of 1941. In those days, you went in, you stood behind the goal that Arsenal were shooting into, and at half-time, you just hopped over the little fence, walked round, stood at the other end. Sometimes they wouldn't quite be able to field 11 players, because sometimes players would become unavailable, they couldn't get the weekend pass, or they'd be posted. And very often you'd find on the team sheet would be an other. And I can remember on one occasion, they literally had an amateur footballer from the crowd to make the team up. I queued up at from 12 o'clock to make sure I could get in. They insisted on a Russian referee. And the fog came down and you could not see, I got in the ground, but you couldn't see the whole match. You could only see really one half. The story is, of course, that at one stage the Russian referee allowed the Russians to have 13 players on the pitch and nobody knew because you couldn't count them because of the fog. But in the end, the Russians won 4-3. I've grown up from being a scruffy, penniless young kid growing up in the Old Kent Road, watching Millwall and watching Arsenal and that, to somebody who enjoys the comforts of life. And there's no question that my seats at the Emirates, immediately in the centre, in that middle tier, facing where the team come out, and you will hear my cry, "Come on, you Gunners!" as it always has been.